ladies first. All right, we're trying to determine what's considered cheap, and what are some of the signs. So, as a lady, Miss T, what do you consider a cheap date? If you go out with someone for the first time, what are some of the things you may notice that make you think that they're cheap?
I wouldn't necessarily. I guess it would depends on one's purpose or a definition of a date. To me, date is when you just spend time with the other person. How much money is spent, where you go, is not always a factor. But you said the first date. From my experience, personally, I was asked out for lunch, and when I met this gentleman for lunch, um, he didn't order. He was like,
Oh,
"Get what you want. I already ate." And I'm like, "What?" And it was awkward to the point that I didn't order. It just threw my whole, groove off because why would you ask me out for lunch if you're not going to dine with me? So
okay. All right. That's
that
unusual.
was that was very unusual.
Okay. And from the chat room, Wendy chimed in from Florida. She said, I had a guy order for me, then told the waiter we would be sharing it.
Oh, oh wow.
Oh, man. All right. So let me go to the fellas. Eminem, I mean, how do you determine if a woman is cheap? Most of the time, guys are the ones paying for dates. So what do you look for on a woman to try to see if she's cheap or not?
Oh man, that's a good question. Well, pretty much, how you dress. Not
Okay.
necessarily by the brand, but I mean, you can kind of tell by the flow of, how much maintenance they done put in for that particular situation anyway. So,
Mm,
now as far as like, how much money or whatever the being spent, if it's on the dude end, I mean, if it's just lunch or whatever, I mean, that ain't nothing. I mean, you start talking about, some real money and some real food. It's like, oh well, obviously we talking about fucking. You know what I'm saying? So, uh,
oh,
so you know, so I mean, so that, like I say, it all depends on the, it ain't necessarily cheap on the woman's end, but it's like how cheap do you want to be? If you real cheap, then you probably say, okay, this is casual. But if your ass talking some real money, well, I mean, you already know what the deal is.